Grace and peace to you. It's either time for a new lighter or a new candle or perhaps both. Welcome to Morning Watch. I'm Rob, one of the pastors here at White Plains. Glad to have you with us today. Welcome back. Where have you guys been? This is where we gather for a song and a thought for the day. Good morning, Emma. I was just kidding around. I'm the one that's been gone, of course. I've had the flu all week since last weekend, and I'm still dealing with a little bit of leftover, but I'm testing negative. So that's great, and feeling much better and re-entering the fray today. Just one more morning to sleep in a little bit yesterday, and I very well may take a long nap today as well. But regardless, this is where we gather for a song and a thought for the day, and I'm so glad you're with us. And yeah, amen, buddy. Thanks, Steve. Let's begin our time together by going to God in prayer. I watch this morning for the light that the darkness has not overcome. I watch for the fire that was in the beginning and that burns still in the brilliance of the rising sun. I watch for the glow of life that gleams in the growing earth and glistens in sea and sky. I watch for your light, O God, in the eyes of every living creature, and in the ever-living flame of my own soul. And if the grace of seeing were mine this day, I would glimpse you in all that lives. Grant me the grace of seeing this day. Grant me the grace of seeing. Amen and amen. So, I'll talk a little bit when we get to the devotional about orientation, disorientation, and reorientation. That's the way that Sarah Bessey has divided her book of poems and readings that we've been doing the past several weeks. And it's kind of how you feel when you go through an illness. On that reorientation, on that beginning to adjust to the new reality, one of my favorite songs for coming through after a dark time is I Can See Clearly Now by Johnny Nash. I've sung it many times here on Morning Watch, but it seemed appropriate today. Good morning, Florida. So here we go. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me down. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Yes, I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue sky. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue sky. see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Oh, it's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. There you go. Yep. Learn that little run. You can play about 1 billion songs. Morning, Lee. Good morning to you whenever you're watching. Thanks for being here. Yes, we're still here. So I mentioned just before the song this little book we've been reading, edited by Sarah Bessey, called A Rhythm of Prayer. And at the very beginning, we talked about the role of prayer in centering our lives and giving us this balance that we need to deal with life every day. And Ms. Bessey organizes this, Reverend Bessey, we'll say it that way. Reverend Bessey organizes this book into 3 sections. This is an ancient pattern that she uses here of orientation, disorientation, and reorientation. Because she's dealing mostly with voices of social justice and community unrest, but people from different marginalized backgrounds, the writers that she's working with experience disorientation. That is the world departing from the way that we were made in the image of God and to love neighbor. They experience the conflict of that with the world around us all the time because of who they are and their backgrounds. And that's why I've taken the time to read the description of each author. But no matter how disorienting our circumstances can be, no matter how much we have to open ourselves up to the reality that the world does not conform to God's vision of love and mercy and care for all, we still live in this world. And in this section called Reorientation, Sarah opens it up with a beautiful prayer for learning to love again. And I thought I would share that prayer and then a reading by Caitlin Curtis. The prayer is short and simple. Go, God of herons and heartbreak, teach us to love the world again. Teach us to love extravagantly, knowing it will break our hearts, and teach us that it is worth it. O God of pandemics and suffering ones, teach us to love the world again. O God of loneliness and longing, of brush fires and wilderness, of soup kitchens and border towns, of snowfall and children, teach us to love the world again. Amen. And I was particularly aware in a personal way of this process of orientation, disorientation, and reorientation in my own journey through the flu this past week. With the tragedy that is in the news, of course, it seems very petty and small to talk about one's own situation. Um, but it's what I know because I just went through it, and so I can only describe the feeling that I had last Saturday, knowing that Sunday was going to be a very big day, a lot of moving parts at church, a lot of things to do. We were doing another contemporary service as we begin to ease back into that on a regular basis. Um, and there were just a lot of things that I needed to do on Sunday. And on Saturday, I was oriented in such a way to be able to handle that. I realized, oh, I'm coming down with something. Um, must be a cold. Um, I'm not having difficulty breathing. I'm not, and at that point, I wasn't feverish. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll just rest today on Saturday, and I'll get up in the morning, take a shower, and uh, take meds, and I'll just power through church. And then maybe after church, I can relax and let whatever this illness is work through me. Well, that was not the way things turned out, obviously, because by Friday night I was shaking and chilling and feverish, and um, could barely walk around without just it was very unpleasant. Uh, Not life threatening at my age and my health, not life threatening. Would have been very serious for some other folks, and the hospitals, I understand, are quite full of folks that are dealing with severe cases of this flu. Tested positive for said flu, and then of course, uh, you know, there was not going to be any church for me. And to quote Star Trek, the Enterprise was going to go right along without me, right? Uh, with the capable captain there, right? So, and of course, church was great. I watched it online. Kelly Dunn did great. The music was great, and I understand the music at the contemporary service went very well as well. Um, so then you go through the week of just trying to recover and rest, right? And then now I'm in that phase of reorientating to, okay, I can start to do a few things again. I'm testing negative and can get back into my uh, um, routine of morning watch. Some of the things I really enjoy and love doing that bring life to others. We have a funeral today for Barry Kay, a celebration of life service, and of course church on Sunday, where I hope to see you all there. Again, it seems um, small and petty to me to recount that, but I thought um, I hope it's helpful to see that no matter unless we understand how God is involved in our own circumstances, even though they may pale in comparison to the tragedy of others, God is still involved in our lives. I still had to deal with that disappointment. Others had to um, pitch in, make up for for me not being there, cover up the mistakes that I left behind, um, or the things that I left undone. Um, I didn't get to participate in a great conference this week. I was planning to be away a couple of days anyway, um, but instead I found rest and healing and peace, knowing that this will pass and all will be well. Maybe not as quickly as I would like for things to be well. If I can take that and apply it to the world and living in the world, then maybe that's that step that I need to face an uncomfortable world, maybe even a hostile world, with joy and calm and balance that comes only from God. And I want to end with a little reading here by Caitlin Curtis called The Lantern and the Wildflower. Caitlin Curtis, I'll tell you this in the beginning because I think it will help inform this reading. Caitlin Curtis is a poet, author, and speaker. She's an enrolled citizen of the Potawatomi Citizen Band. So Native American and someone who has grown up in the Christian faith. So Caitlin writes on the intersection of indigenous spirituality, faith in everyday life, and the church. And this reading is called The Lantern and the Wildflower. If only I could give you the gift of adventure. If only I could box her up for you, that big red bow on top glimmering. But this cannot be. Adventure is not given or earned. She is a breath that is prayed, a force that is found in the soul of everyone and everything. But maybe, just maybe, if I cannot box her up for you, at least I can point you in the right direction. Maybe, at least, I can tell you where I saw adventure last. What I prayed when I was alone, waiting in a forest under the pine trees for her to appear. Maybe that will be your beginning. You see, I didn't learn for a long time, for years. As soon as I began searching, I hid behind fear. All the while adventure waiting for me with a lantern and a wildflower. All that time, I only wanted pictures of her without knowing her presence, her warmth, her smell. When I met her, I found myself. When I prayed, I found God. If only I could teach you not to be afraid. If I could only tell you that it's okay if you don't have words left to pray. If only I could paint you, if only I could point you towards that lantern and that wildflower. If only I could show you the way to God. But God cannot be given or earned. No, God is found. So in that soul of yours, there is the greatest opportunity. You, the world, breath and prayer embodied, everything sacred. These things would never fit into a box with a big red bow on top, glimmering. Amen. That also seemed very appropriate since I have finished up streaming the series Skeleton Crew, which is about a bunch of kids in Star Wars going. It's in the Star Wars universe, but you don't have to be a Star Wars fan to enjoy it. It's more like movies like E.T. or The Goonies than anything recently from the Star Wars universe. But a bunch of kids go off into space and have an adventure. And that the idea of adventure and what they think adventure is going to be and what the reality of adventure is central to the idea of that series. So that resonated with me as I read that. I love the way that she blends the idea of adventure with God. Certainly not the same thing, but both have to be found, right? They're right there for us. All right, have a great day. Before I ramble too much, I'll look forward to seeing you again on, I'll record something for Monday, and then I'll be back live on Tuesday, and then I'll see you at church on Sunday. Thanks for being here. Good to be back. Now I'll talk to you soon. May you find peace and purpose in this day.